Hola, boa noite. Hi, good evening. It's Carlm Unson here. Or, as I've just noticed on the screen fairly recently, no, this is a prank. I would never describe myself as that. So I think Mrs. M may have set me up here with a little bit of a prank here and has referred to me as Biggest Dickers. I'm flattered, but it's not really my name. I'm going to change that right now, just so that we don't attract the wrong crowd this evening. Well, some say we always attract the wrong crowd. This is a comeback to life Sunday session with me, Carl Munson, and a an evening version of what we've been doing every midday between Monday and Saturday for the last 3 weeks now, where the local fire brigade test alarm goes off at midday. And I've been using it as a bit low on the screen there, right? I've been using it as a signal to it's like a call to stillness and mindfulness and meditation of a very superficial nature. And by that I don't mean superficial in a shallow and not worthwhile sense. I mean as in a light touch when it comes to the subject. Hold on a minute, that's wrong as well. What's going on here? I don't. That is entirely the wrong ticker tape, and this is a fabulous test of going live and seeing what happens and being okay with it. That's the important message here this evening. So apologies if that was a little bit misleading there. It's not the Good Morning Portugal show. I think that was Anna Caramujo. Apologies to you, Anna, if now people are expecting you on the screen. This is a real test of being ready or not being ready, but doing it anyway. And, I said I'd be live at 7. So I pushed the button as close to 7 as I could manage. And we'll just go from there and see what happens. And I expect the same from you. Now, I know that bitterness can lead from expectation. And what I mean by that is, what I would suggest is that whether you feel like it or not, if you're watching this, if you've bothered to watch this and you've been interested in this experiment of the last 3 weeks, if you've been bothered enough to tune in and watch, how about whether you feel like it or not, we just fall still and see what happens, and we pause and we attempt mindfulness and meditative awareness and just see what happens and talk about it, exchange our observations on that. Okay, so a little bit of a ragged start for me. The wrong name on the screen. I think it's correct now, is it not? If I yes, no longer Bigger Stickers, but Carl Munson on there. And I said I would be here at 7. Here we are, and my invitation, my offer to you is to fall still, be peaceful for just a few minutes and see what happens. And for anybody who's been watching over these last 3 weeks or so, the midday sessions, if you've got any questions about that, any observations that you'd like to share, I'd love to hear them. I really would. And if you've got any questions more generally about meditation, mindfulness, and being still and peaceful, I'd be very grateful for those as well. And don't really want to have a debate or a discussion particularly about what it is. I would love to have an experience, a joint experience of being peaceful and still. Good evening to you, Owen. Lovely to see you. Boa noite, my friend. Igualmente. Boa noite to you as well, Owen. And same, Jacqueline. Good evening to you, Jacqueline Branco. Good evening to you as well. Hope you're well, tudo bem. And maybe we can share some moments of peace here this evening. So if you will, just in case I'm driving you mad by not being on the center of the screen, let all such challenges, petty concerns fall away and attend to the main business here tonight. Bit of calm and feel the weight of your body on the chair. I'm assuming you're sat somewhere. Wherever you happen to be in the world, if you're tuned in, feel the weight of your body. Be aware of having a body. It might be sat on a chair. It might be leant against a lamppost. I don't know. You might be on a bus. You could be anywhere. But I think we can fairly suspect that you are in a body somewhere, being aware of this right now. Okay, so please be aware of your body, whether it's the weight of the body on a chair, or the weight of your body standing on your feet, whatever it is. Be aware of your body having some mass and having some impact on the surface upon which it finds itself at the moment. Okay, and just for simplicity's sake, aware of the body, weight of the body on the chair. And somewhat more subtly, how about feeling the pressure of the clothes against the skin? You might feel that especially so around the waist if you've got a belt on. You might feel that on your shoulders and arms with your shirt. But you might also feel it with your socks and shoes and trousers. Just there's a pressure that's there all the time of our clothing against our skin. And we might not be aware of it because we're very used to it. And it's just a lovely way of getting into the senses and out of the judgmental machinery that's constantly making judgments and meanings about the places in which our body finds itself or where we put our body. So, if you will, be aware of having a body, its weight, its mass upon whichever surface it finds itself. And I've got my hands and arms resting on the desk in front of me. I can feel the pressure of my clothes against my skin. I can feel my body on the chair. And if I relax and breathe out and become more aware of my breathing pattern, I too can feel the play of air in the nostrils, the advantage of having hairy nostrils. And if you breathe out through your mouth, perhaps feel the play of air on the lips as well. And the subtler sensation that's there all the time if should we choose to put our attention there. And let's put our attention there now. And if you will, let the other concerns that you may have been carrying all day, all week, all month, all your life, certain preoccupying thoughts we can become very attached to them. And here is a little bit of blessed relief, if you want it, to let go of the thinking just for a moment. Or if you can't let go of it, create a bit of space between what you're thinking, what keeps coming up. Like, oh God, he keeps going on and blah, 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 Unson, and whatever it is that's in the focus of your mind at the moment. Let's be aware that we've got a viewer of that as well. There's something aware of the thought as well as the thought. And let's see if we can be in that position of observation or that place of observation, seeing the thinking, being aware of the thinking, the same thing that's aware of the body on the chair and aware of the breath coming in and out of the body. We create a bigger view for ourselves of all of this taking place. Something's watching, isn't it? Something's watching and is aware of what's going on. And we can be that viewer, that observer for a few minutes. And not take life quite so seriously, not be quite so engaged and attached to what's going on. Let go a little. Let the white knuckle ride give way to the sort of peace that you might be used to when you relax or fall asleep and your hands let go of their grip. You feel your shoulders drop a little bit. And I hope this is helping then, Owen. You've been in search of stillness and clarity in the past few weeks. And this is a chance, there's no guarantees. The exercise I'm sharing and I'm inviting you to take part in might help. I don't know. Only you can tell me if it's helping or not. I will make no assumptions about that. I know from my own experience it helps me. And I've heard other people speak of their freedom and relaxation and gratitude for such an exercise of falling still and pausing. But I also recognize how difficult challenging it can be to have very persistent thoughts and attachment to what's going on in the mind. And that's the work. That's the invitation here, is to just let go a little bit and allow those thoughts, those preoccupations, those attachments to be observed in the first instance. And we've got the beautiful mechanism of stillness. All humans, do they not? I'm making a big assumption here, but we can assume, I think, fairly safely that humans like to relax. We spend a lot of time wanting quality time, easing our way towards more ease and enjoying being relaxed. We have weekends, don't we? We have evenings, we unwind, we de-stress. And that general sense is what we can be about here and right now. And be easy and be still and be aware. And that awareness, that observation can be very helpful to us in creating some space between the preoccupations and the thoughts and the things that we just can't stop thinking about sometimes. And maybe that's what you're talking about. Things that eat us up, and eat up our awareness, eat up our energy. It's exhausting. And it happens. And it's really important we don't beat ourselves up about that, because that would just be more thinking about the thinking. And we're just like, yes, there I go. I'm thinking about thinking. Ha ha, I can let that go as well. And just have a nice, easy moment or two on a Sunday night at 6, well, at 8, but 7 if you did put your clock back. There you go. Time's an illusion. And so are the thoughts. There are, the things that we've attached ourselves to, that we've given meaning to. We can't think about them all the time. Even if we go to sleep, we might dream about them, but there are moments when we can let go. So clearly we can let go, and clearly we can be the viewer of them. And I would put it to you that the more we can be the viewer of them, and the more distance we can create between our problems and the things that we can't stop thinking about, the more ease and joy and glory and freedom and peace and love we can create, or be aware of. Allow that to come into the space between all that stuff that seems so important so much of the time. Just let go a little bit and allow that vacuum. I think the vacuum naturally is filled by peacefulness if we don't poison it with something else. Basically, if we don't pollute our stillness with a load of thinking and preoccupation, it's pretty nice, really. It's pretty natural to be still and easy. Hi, Isabel. Nice to see you here as well. Good evening to you. Keep up the good work. Oh, thanks, Isabel. I honestly don't need much encouragement but thank you. And nonetheless, I don't need much encouragement to park my butt up and my body up for a little while and enjoy a little bit of peace. So thank you for your encouragement. I appreciate it. And I put my feet flat. I have a tendency to curl my feet up underneath the chair. So I'm just going to ground my feet onto the floor. And feel my shoulders drop a little bit more. And breathe out and let go. And let's see if we can return to that. Should we drift away? Should thoughts come and occlude or fog our clarity? Just say, oh yeah, okay, that's happening again. I can let it go again. Come back to the breathing. Feel the weight of the body on the chair. I can just keep doing that. I can keep doing that until, it seems like I had a longer period of stillness and ease then. And then the thoughts came up. It happens. It happens. It's like the weather. It's changing all the time. And there is a viewer of the weather, isn't there? There's a viewer of the weather. There's that in which the weather takes place. Can we be that? Can we be the biggest awareness of that in which everything is taking place? The thoughts, the reality, the so-called reality. Can we be that? Can we be big enough to be aware, just gently, not attached to, but aware of life, of being? And can we practice that as we do at midday every day at the moment, and a slightly longer session on Sunday evening? And we got a heckler as well. Still feeling sorry for the chair. Now, tuned. I don't know if you saw my recent messages, but I'm going to take your heckling as a resistance to the invitation to be still and be peaceful. And yeah, okay, it's a good one. You're feeling sorry for the weight of the body on the chair. I get it. And how about you give in to the invitation and surrender, which can be, I think, maybe that's a little bit challenging man to man, maybe. I might suggest what you do and ask you to do something. And, you maybe rather be cracking jokes and having a bit of fun and heckling, as I call it. But I invite you to let it all go and enjoy some peace and stillness here with me right now. And I don't know if you will or not. I, that's my gift to you. That's my in these sessions. So there it is. There it is for you and for everybody. Coming back to that weight of the body on the chair, the pressure of the clothes on the skin, the breath coming in and out of the body, usually through the nose and the mouth. And whatever arises, thoughts, preoccupations, attachments, if you can, just be aware of them, and maybe just that awareness of them allows them to go on their way. Because of course it's very easy for this awareness to pick up and like Velcro to something that comes up, something that's triggering perhaps for whatever reason. It's often quite habitual and arbitrary or arbitrary. And away we go. We can attach our beautiful presence, our awareness to something that comes up. And before we know it, we're miles away, on a thought train, literally a train of thought that takes us out of this moment and into the past, some old hurt or some hurt that we fear might be coming in the future. All of this happens, doesn't it, in the drama of the human mind and the world of the personal and the personal problems and all that sort of stuff, which clearly are very, again, habitual and arbitrary. They're not truths. They're not always there. They're there when we allow them to be. And I don't mean to make light of that. If we've thought about something a lot, it becomes quite habitual, and we can become quite attached to it, and then it becomes harder to let it go. But here we go. We have a chance. Midday every day if you want. Sunday, slightly longer session. And I wanted to add a little bit, if you don't mind, the invitation is there for me, myself as well. I'm talking to myself here as well, as much as anybody else, probably more so than anybody else, but to keep coming back to being aware through the senses, to be aware of the who that is watching this what, if that makes sense, if that's not too much of a conundrum and a word salad. But there is something watching and there's something going on, and I invite you to keep opening up to the viewer, to the observer of what's going on, and consider this idea, the theme of this possible conversation tonight. Thank you. Right back at you there, tuned as well. Just love. How about that? Yes. And spilt milk. And it would appear, wouldn't it? There's in the world of the personality and the problems of the personality and the man-made world and the hurts and the triggers and all this sort of world, which we're very aware of. It's the normal world, isn't it? Things seem to be heating up. We've got the big American election. We seem to have all sorts of food for the mind troll. Yeah, there's a lot for the worry. There's a lot of worry fodder, anxiety fodder around at the moment. It's as though it's as though there's something that wants to feed that part of our minds that is addicted to worry and anxiety. There's a lot around, it seems, in the man-made world in terms of fuel for that fire. It's burning hot and bright, and there's no end of fuel at the moment for it. And again, we can be aware of it. We can be the observer of that. And it would appear, that's quite a challenge for any mere mortal, isn't it? To not be triggered, to not be pulled in by the lapels into, which side are you on, man? It's a fight for the truth. All this sort of stuff is coming up at the moment, isn't it? You're on the right side of history. All the loud, raucous cries for our attention. And I'm no better. I'm asking for your attention here. So I get that I'm an attention seeker as well. And I let you be the judge of whether the attention I'm seeking from you and asking you to put that attention on your senses and peace. I'll let you be the judge of whether that's a good call or not in your own experience. It's entirely your business. And I offer it in good faith. And we have this I think it's fair to say we have this phenomenon at the moment of the inner troll being fed a lot of negativity and dramatic stuff at the moment. And it occurs to me that would call us into the world to try and sort the world out. And this is something that has comes into my mind just recently. The so-called problems of the world, the world problems that we're trying to solve through politics and ideology and fighting each other, making each other wrong. It's spilt milk or spilled milk, whichever you prefer. I know the Brits and English have a distinction on spilled or spilt, and therein lies its own. That could be another trigger, couldn't it? They should do this, they shouldn't do it like that. But I think we all know, those of us from a dairy consuming culture, whether you're vegan or not, you probably know what it's like, even to spill your soya milk, if not. And no, you don't eat seed oil, so you don't have soya milk. But you get the gist. Milk gets spilled. We've all seen that in some way or other, have we not? That milk gets spilled and it's out the bottle. The bottle might be smashed. And the great saying of I don't know, as everyone must have heard this in our civilization, it's no good crying over spilled milk. Now, that never stopped anybody crying. It never stopped anybody spilling any milk. But that doesn't mean there's not some wisdom there. Like, it's done. The bottle fell out your hand. You weren't paying attention when you were getting the bottle out of the fridge. You smashed on the floor. And all you can do now is clean it up. There's no point crying over it. That makes sense, doesn't it? Everyone can appreciate that. Probably not when they've just smashed a bottle and some wise guy in the room is saying, "Oh, there's no point crying over that." But I think we've all perhaps, have you? Let me ask you that. I'm suspecting that if you've spilt a bottle of milk, you've had days when you've cursed and got upset and why does this always happen to me? And I'm so stupid. I always do these sorts of things. And then other days when, like, you know what? I wasn't paying attention. I just spilled the milk. It needs to be cleaned up. I'm going to clean it up. I'm not going to make too much of a big deal. And there's a choice of experience and choice of perception of that event, is there not? And I'm putting it to you tonight that our world is that, our reality that we're so focused on at the moment, the outer reality, the going without, if you like, the without world, the outside world, what we call reality, is spilt milk. It's already happened. It's happening. It's there. And all of these horrific things that, I'm not doubting that there are horrific things going on in the world. I'm not trying to what's the word? Spiritually bypass any of that from what I'm saying. I can see there is terrible human suffering in the world. People are doing horrible things to each other. And there's a lot of great things going on in the world as well. This whole, anything you can imagine, the whole spectrum of human activity is there, including what I'm saying is spilled milk. Because even the good stuff is spilled milk. It's happened. It's like, in terms of in using this metaphor, the reality is spilled milk. It's out of the bottle. It's on the floor. It's happened. And it perhaps isn't the best place to be influencing what happens next, is it? If we're on our hands and knees kneeling in spilt milk and broken glass, whilst that has to be attended to, it perhaps isn't the best place to be in terms of what's coming next in the world. Now, of course, you need your consciousness to attend to the cleaning up of that event, but it's to put all of our attention into the world of spilled milk, the world that is spilled milk, that's out of the can, that's the bottle is broken, occurs to me to be not a good place to have our best and constant attention. And what I would suggest to you, why I think this is profound, that we have purposeful moments of stillness, of peace, of pause. And this can sometimes escalate into joy and bliss as well in our moments of stillness. I put it to you, I suggest that in a world of spilled milk, we can be the observer of that. We don't need to be the spilled milk. We can be the observer of it. We take the necessary action to clean it up. And then where do we put our attention? Do we keep thinking about the milk we spilled? Do we develop a terrible fear and phobia of broken glass and milk going off on the floor because we haven't cleaned it up properly? Or do we come back? Do we come back to life? Do we come back to the stillness, the pristineness of our awareness? And it strikes me that it's pretty pathetic in a way that at midday for the last 3 weeks, I am allowing myself a few moments of peace. Isn't that us about face? Wouldn't an amazing world be one where we allowed ourselves a few minutes of drama every day and not the other way round? Isn't it funny that this is a world in which people go to a retreat away from their life for one weekend a year or something, and the rest of their life is a hurly-burly that they try to make sense of at the retreat? It's bizarre, isn't it? But that's spilt milk. There's no point worrying about that or getting upset about that. It's just an interesting observation, possibly. And what I'm suggesting is there is incredible profundity in allowing ourselves to be peaceful, still, and joyful, and being aware of love and peace and joy for more and more of the time. The world as we know it at the moment would have you in the world fighting for peace. Again, like, hold on a minute, fighting for peace. It would have you upsetting yourself for the purpose of a better future, when in fact you can experience joy and love and peace right now if you just stop and do it now. This is the funny world of spilled milk that we live in. So I'm suggesting again, I'll keep doing this at midday. We'll be back again, God willing, tomorrow at midday for just a few moments of peace and stillness out of the hurly-burly and the spilled milk of the world, as it were. A few moments of peace. And maybe some of you who've tried this and enjoyed this might like to try other moments. You know, you've got your own triggers, haven't you? As somebody suggested when we first started this. And by the way, this is where we can get into a debate. This is where we can get into the mind. This is the way we can get into the war of thoughts and conversation. So I would remind and ask you to feel the weight of your body on the chair now. And just hear what I'm saying as a kind of, hear it. And if it appeals to you, great. If it doesn't, let it go. But let's keep that ease and lightness of being and just hear what's going on, respond if you want to, and perhaps erring on that side of caution is not an especially helpful turn of phrase here, but eat it or throw it away. Oh no, that's not a good turn of phrase anymore either, is it? If it makes sense to you, if it has a ring of truth or your intuition says, yeah, actually, yeah, do you know what? I might just every, meal times, I might just fall still before I eat. I might even do this every hour. The church bell rings. I might just stop. Or I might just not. I might just keep worrying all day long. I might just keep being bitter, resentful, and angry about every damn thing in my life. And you try and stop me. Only kidding. So feel the weight of the body on the chair. And the pressure of the clothes on the skin, the play of air on the face, the breath coming in and out of the body. And I'll leave it there tonight. I'll leave it there. Let's have a look at a few of the comments in just a moment. But that's my invitation extended, or a little thing to leave with you this afternoon, this evening, is: do you want to be the milk? Do you want to be in the world of the spilled milk? It's already happened. Do you want to be going over what's wrong with that? Or do you want to be the observer of it and cultivate indifference? Things happen. Milk gets spilled. Life goes on. And perhaps a very privileged, and in a good way privileged, and a very grateful position to be in is to be able to see that it's all happening and that we might not immediately attach and associate and make meanings of negativity and the thing the feelings and emotions that don't serve us. We don't have to immediately attach those to what happens to us in life. We can cleanse ourselves as the viewer, as the observer, as the awareness of these things. As in regular parlance, they might be terrible things, but they it is a choice. How we see things is a choice, and where we put ourselves into relation to the things of our lives is also a choice, and we can play with that, and we can see what happens. And again, I make no guarantees. I just put it to you that that is the case, and very interested to see what if you're moved to what your experience of that is as an ongoing experiment in the inevitability of life happening to us, of this the world of living day to day. Things happen, of course they happen, and we can adjust our perception and awareness of those things. And that's a fascinating, that perhaps is what separates us from many other creatures on this earth, is that we can do that, and we can work with that, and we can be aware of being aware of that, and we can see what that brings to our lives. And that, to me, that's the cream. That's at the top of the milk, isn't it? The cream is at the top of the milk. It's the top. It's the transcendent part of the milk. So how about we, instead of being the milk on the floor in glass and all over the floor, no 5-second rule there, we rise to the top of the milk and we be conscious and pure. It's the purest part of the milk as well, isn't it? Double cream, clotted cream. No, just look into clots right now. But we can rise, can't we? We can arise, we can have that transcendent view, and we can play with that, and we can see what that brings to us in our lives. And it's a subtle thing. It's a subtle thing, but I believe it. I see it. I've experienced it as a deeply profound thing as well. So may I share that with you and just acknowledge your comments. Thank you very much. The chair's okay tuned. The Squire's here. Good evening to you. Let's have one more little call to stillness before we part. But let me just say good evening to you, Squire of the Shires. My goodness, I need to go and meet Gav as well in just a moment. Gav, I'll be with you in just a moment. I'm not sure if you're tuned in at the moment. See, there you go. That's another good heckling. But what if you're I'm not a fisherman in Ethiopia, nor are you tuned. What a good fortune to be able to listen to you this morning in California. Wow, good morning to you in California. A wonderful reminder to slow down, get grounded. Oh, yes. And feel peace and gratitude for all the blessings in our lives. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Good to see you. Lots of love to you. The rest of my day will be beautiful. Cheers. Yes, Ben. Nice one. How lovely to see you. Beans, mate. Beans. Not sure what that means. Hugh, good evening to you. Been picking olives all day. Great in the sunshine. Oh, you sound like you're charged. You're solar powered this evening, Hugh. Lots of love to you and Jane there. Ain't bought milk for years. You see the triggering. I mentioned milk. He tells me he hasn't bought milk for years. Are you taking the invitation tuned, or are you just playing word association with me? And a thank you, Carl, from Owen, and a photo. Thank you, Owen. Listening to you whilst looking at this closer to stillness. Thank you. Woohoo! Well, if I've shifted you or anyone on the emotional scale, as it were, to a place of more peace and joy and love, then I'm very, very happy to have done so. And I apologize if I've wound anybody up. That is not my intention. And if you're somebody who's watching me on a regular basis and getting wound up, it's a bit like, fool me once, shame on you, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on me. If you keep watching me to get wound up, I would ask you not to. Okay, so please don't do that. Please don't use me in that way. It's not fair to either of us. And let's just again fall still, weight of the body on the chair. Any tingling in your body, your lips, your nostrils, weight of the clothes on the skin. You might be outside like Hugh or Owen, and you can feel the breeze on your skin. How beautiful is that? Cream to you. dream to you. Okay, all the best. And we'll see you tomorrow when that siren goes off here in San Martino de Porto, or soon after. And have a enjoy the rest of your evening. And lucky us, we've been given an extra hour.